When you hear the word bodybuilding, your brain probably goes the same place that mine did, and that goes straight to Arnie, Ronnie Coleman, or these jacked females where their arms are bigger than their quads. And there is a side to that, absolutely. But I want to shed some light onto the natural bodybuilding, specifically natural female bodybuilding. My name is Megan Wensky. I'm the host of the Find Your Peak Fitness podcast, so thank you for being here. My background is in professional golf. That is what I did straight out of college. I played professional golf for a couple of years, but now I'm in prep for my first ever bodybuilding show. Well, I'm actually in my improvement season for my first ever bodybuilding show. I'll be in prep in 2027. So a year and a half time, I'll be stepping up on stage in my first ever show. And I've already learned so much from this first year of training. When I first committed to doing this show, I did kind of think, okay, like I've committed. Now I need to, really track my food diligently. I've got to track every gram of salt that goes in my mouth. I've got to train 3 hours a day. I've got to walk around with a gallon of water because that's what people do. When I go into the gym, I've got to look like a bodybuilder. And it's just not the case. That's what people think. They think that you have to track your food to the extreme. Your meal timings have got to be on point. You've got to eat chicken, broccoli, and rice every day. You have no social events. You cannot go out. And you've got to train really hard. You've got to grunt when you're in the gym, and it's for like 3 hours every single day. Absolutely not. To give you some insight, this is my water bottle right here. So as you can see, I don't walk around with a gallon water bottle. The side that people don't see is when you're in your off season, which majority of the time you will be. An off season is your improvement season. It's your gaining phase. It's when you're in the gym trying to make improvements. You're actually building your body. That's the time you spend most in. And that's the time that I'm in just now. And it's way more flexible than what people think. It's way more flexible than what I thought. I remember when I first committed, I remember asking my coach, what supplements do I need to get? Do I need to train here? What do I need to do with this? Should I have this type of chicken or this type of chicken? Which protein powder is best? And I just went down this rabbit hole of almost the questions that people ask when they first start getting into the gym. And if I'm being honest, not much really changed for me. Before I committed to do my first show, I was still training. I was doing it for golf, so a bit more performance-based, but there were still bodybuilding concepts to it. And I'm going to kind of dive into that in a second. But there wasn't much I had to change apart from just track my food a little bit more diligently. But even then, there's room for flexibility. I could still eat out at restaurants if I need to. But my decisions just have more of an impact on my goals than they did before. But your off season is much more flexible than you think. When it comes to your actual prep, so when you are leaning down for stage, the restriction in that is temporary. So yes, there will be a time in my life where I can't go to social events. There will be a time in my life when I do have to track my salt and I have to track every gram of broccoli. But it's temporary and it's intentional. Okay? I have a goal. So for X amount of months, this is what I'm going to do. I'm locking in. With that, so in your off season, there's room for flexibility. You're still locked in. You're still absolutely still locked in, but there is that room for flexibility that people don't see. They just see, oh, you're training for a bodybuilding show? How come you're out eating Mexican? It's because you flipping can go out and eat Mexican. You're allowed to. The closer you get to stage, I will not be going out to eat Mexican. So the restriction is very temporary and it's intentional. Another point I want to bring up, and this actually applies to everyone, not just bodybuilders, but every goal requires trade-offs. So whether you're a bodybuilder in prep or you're just a generic gym goer that's trying to lose a bit of weight, everything has trade-offs. So every goal has trade-offs. It just so happens that bodybuilding, your trade-offs leaning into stage do require you to be on it pretty much 24/7. And it is 24/7 because your sleep matters too. Your sleep is a big, big asset to your output, to your goals. But every goal requires trade-offs, and bodybuilding's no different. When I was a professional golfer, did that require trade-offs? Absolutely. I kind of went to the extreme, and this is where the bodybuilding fundamentals kind of leaned into my golf, because I valued my sleep. I was like, if I don't sleep well tonight, my performance is going to suffer. Bodybuilding's no different. Golf is no different. Your goals are no different. But for some reason, the stigma's around bodybuilding that's restrictive. If you apply bodybuilding fundamentals, you will get results. The other part that most people don't see is that bodybuilders actually enjoy their life. And this kind of ties into the restriction part, but most bodybuilders, if you follow them on social media or if you know a bodybuilder and you ask them, most of them actually enjoy their life. The way I train, the way I live, I feel so healthy and my energy is high, my sleep is great because my health is good. My overall health is good. And I genuinely enjoy my lifestyle. I love to train hard. I love to eat right. When I don't do that, I don't feel great. I get that high from it. It makes me feel good. So most competitors actually genuinely enjoy their lifestyle. And that's what people don't see. Moving on to this next point, and I want to talk about the difference between discipline and restriction. And I've spoken about this before. If you're a client of mine, I've probably spoken about it to you. But restriction is like negative. Restriction has negative connotations and it feels forced. And I've been down that route where I've started with the intention of like, I'm going to work on my self-discipline, and all of a sudden I'm like in this just restriction cycle, and it just sucks. And it never kind of reaps the good rewards that you want. So that's what restriction is. Restriction is force. Discipline is a choice that you make that aligns with your goals. Okay, so if you're trying to work on your self-discipline, you make the choice of, I'm going to do this thing to work on my discipline, and you get the reward from that. Restriction is like you're in this mental battle with yourself and it's forced upon you. Like you feel restricted. Now with bodybuilding, there is a time, like I said, when you are restricted, but most of the time you're just disciplined. And that's what I love. And I know that's what a lot of my clients want. And once they get there, they love it. Once they've found their peak, they want to keep on going and they create a next peak and they keep on going. Okay. But the same habits that feel restrictive to one person will feel freer to another. So it's amazing when people, make comments about even my habits or one of my clients' habits or whoever it is. They almost borderline can get judgmental, which is okay. And that's okay that my habits will feel restrictive to them. And that's where they need to look at, okay, this is my starting point. If I want to get to a point of self-discipline, then I need to start here. Not everyone's habits will feel disciplined to you. They may feel restrictive, and that's okay. You need to find that sweet spot of, okay, this is where I'm at. This is where I want to get. What disciplinary habits do I have to apply to get there without being too restrictive? Okay. Because there's certain habits that, people have that I would find restrictive, and that's okay. But the habits I have in place help me in my discipline and get me to my goals. I hope that makes sense. So kind of do some self-reflection. Where you're at now, what habits do you think you need to apply that would get you disciplined without being overly restrictive? Okay. And also don't judge people for what they're doing. Don't judge people for their habits, because what is restrictive for you will not feel restrictive for them. Okay. So overall, is bodybuilding, I'm going to stick to my Velcro here, is bodybuilding healthy? There's two different types of bodybuilding. And like I said, before I actually started my journey to bodybuilding, I was already kind of doing the fundamentals. So looking back, I would say I'm kind of a recreational bodybuilder. Now I'm actually like working towards competing. So there's a difference between the recreational bodybuilder and competitive bodybuilder. And bodybuilding is the extremes. However, when you're in that extreme state, when your body fat percentage is really low, you're not going to live there for very long. So if you look at your improvement season, which is like the majority of the time you'll be living in, that's really healthy. Like I said, when I first started this, I had healthy habits, but this is the healthiest I've ever felt in my life, and I'm training for a bodybuilding show. Once you go into contest prep, so let's say your improvement season's here, your contest prep is like kind of over here, that's kind of where you can drop into that unhealthy. That's where bodybuilding gets extreme. That's when your body fat percentage is so low that it's not healthy. And that's the key point to this, that bodybuilding is not, stage lean is not sustainable. Bodybuilding is, but stage lean, natural bodybuilding is, but stage lean isn't. Okay, that's why you get people that get stage lean, and it's almost like you want to get in and out as quick as possible and as safely as possible. So bodybuilding in itself, it can build incredible habits when it's approached the right way, with balance, with good intentions. The contest prep phase itself, it's not supposed to be living for very long. Okay, so that in itself isn't healthy, but the stages to get up to that, the improvement season to get up to that, absolutely, 100%. So should everyone bodybuild? If you're listening to this now, you're like, do you feel like you should bodybuild? Are you like, like this is what I should do for me to get discipline? Probably not. Like, not everyone should go into bodybuilding prep. It does require a commitment, but everyone can learn from bodybuilders. And I know that might sound shocking because you may look at yourself and be like, I'm the polar opposite of a bodybuilder. But you really can learn from bodybuilders. Bodybuilders have the tools and the answers for you if you are wanting to build consistency, patience, if you're wanting to load in your lift, so progressive overload, if you want to improve in your lift and your training, nutrition, and most importantly, delayed gratification. That is the key to any goal, to any success, whether you're a bodybuilder or not, delayed gratification. So if you're wanting to improve your consistency, your patience, your nutrition, your delayed gratification, and your training, then learn from bodybuilders. Listen to the podcast, watch their videos, because bodybuilding, honestly, is so healthy and underrated. It's almost surprising people don't lean into it more. So just to sum this up, bodybuilding isn't restrictive because you can't do certain things. It's actually very freeing. This is the freest I've ever felt in my life because I have a plan and I have goals and I work towards them and I do the skills or develop the skills that lead me to that. Bodybuilding can be restrictive when you're in contest prep because you are choosing to prioritize your one goal over everything else. But just remember that it's temporary. It's not going to last forever. Okay, your contest prep's a small little snippet out of your life. But overall, training as a bodybuilder is so healthy and freeing. It's great. The key to making sure that sacrifices align with your values and that you're pursuing the sport because you love it. It's not because you feel like you have to do it. You're doing it because you love it. You love the journey. Don't pursue bodybuilding because you want to be restrictive. Pursue it because you love the principles behind it. And even if you're not pursuing bodybuilding, follow the bodybuilding because they are doing the extreme. So if you're wanting to be more self-disciplined, look at what bodybuilders are doing. Okay. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. If you find value in this, please like, share, and subscribe because you never know who you're going to be inspiring along the way. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you guys next week.